JJK chapter 268 confirmed that Sukuna is dead, and the debate over Gojo's death is also resolved. Let's not waste time and dive directly into the spoilers. We see that Sukuna is talking to Megumi's soul. Sukuna taunts Megumi's soul, saying, "How dare you still live? You handed your body over to me and even killed your sister with your own hands. You even rejected the hand that was offered to you." Sukuna then urges Megumi to give up, adding that he has no proper life left. Sukuna was essentially telling Megumi to shut up and let him handle everything. At this point, Sukuna was already finished, standing at death's door with no chance of return. But still, Sukuna, the king of all curses, has an inherent arrogance. We know he has a unique attitude, which is why he was ordering Megumi around even at this time. After this, we see Megumi replying to Sukuna. Although Sukuna's fading embers were slowly dimming, Megumi responds, "If you're so desperate, the outcome is predetermined. If you are pulled off by it, you will die here." At this point, Sukuna was literally in a pathetic state, looking like a bacteria. What has the author made of the main villain? Later, Megumi tells Sukuna that resonance is not good for him either. If Sukuna's last missing finger is not connected with his soul, it will have no effect. Megumi adds that he is glad to know that Sukuna is afraid of dying. Megumi then says that he never really had the intention of living a proper life. It's a given, but there are so many more people in the world besides yourself, so maybe I'll try living for someone else one more time. Back in reality, we see Yuji's domain break, and Megumi separates from Sukuna. Sukuna, who had been reduced to a pathetic state, faces Yuji. Yuji then asks Sukuna what he plans to do next. We get a brief flashback where Yuji warns Sukuna to release Megumi and come back into his body. He tells Sukuna that if he does that, he won't kill him and will let him live within him. But when Sukuna refuses, Yuji does what he said and kills Sukuna. Yuji then says, "You are me." He picks up Sukuna's fading remains with his hands and says, bearing a curse without even knowing it. What kind of monster we would have become was a matter of chance. But I had my grandpa. Yuji continues, "Let's try one more time, Sukuna. Not to curse someone, but to live with someone. Even if no one accepts you, I'll live with you alone." Despite hearing these words, Sukuna in his last moments still shows rage. He angrily says, "I will commend you for playing the fool to this extent, Yuji Itadori. Don't underestimate a curse." And with that, those were Sukuna's last words, the king of all curses. Sukuna's end is confirmed, and from here on, Yuji will live with Sukuna as a curse. The ending felt a bit rushed because, as we saw, Yuji had hit Sukuna with many black flashes before, but nothing happened. But here, after Sukuna had healed, a single black flash ended him. Although Nobara's resonance played the best role, but it is what it is. I want to know your opinion on this ending. Is this truly Sukuna's end? The scene changes and we finally see Hikari and Urami. Urama has finally realized that Sukuna is gone, and Hikari asks what they plan to do next. Urami replies, "I've already told you, it's the end. There's no meaning to anything anymore." And listen carefully to Urami next words. Urami says the logical reason behind Sukuna's defeat is his incarnated body. Urami adds, "You guys were really lucky. You survived because you were born 1,000 years too late." We already know Uram has been serving Sukuna for a long time, so Urami knows so much about Sukuna. Uram here is saying that Sukuna's incarnated body is the only reason he lost. If Sukuna had his original body and didn't have to depend on this incarnated body, he would have killed everyone. Because as we know, Sukuna was always worried that his incarnated body wasn't his own, unlike his body from 1,000 years ago. Back then, the name Sukuna was a terror to everyone. No wonder why Uram said you guys were lucky to be born 1,000 years late. If you were born in that era, you would have no idea what would have happened. Sukuna with his real body was unstoppable, and defeating him was nearly impossible unless his last finger was preserved. So you can't even imagine Sukuna with his real body. Hikari then says, "I was lucky, wasn't I? That's the highest praise I could receive." And Uram responds, "Yeah, you understood correctly." With these words, we see Uram's body fading away along with Sukuna's. The worst part is that this battle had no real outcome. I mean, how did this battle drag on for so long without us knowing anything about it? Gege left us all in suspense with this fight because it started a year ago, and now it's been a year, and we still don't know much about the battle. With Sukuna's death, we were only shown that Uram faded away. We know the boss is finished, so what would Uram have done anyway? But still, they should have shown a bit more. But I understand Gege wanted to maintain the momentum and focused only on Sukuna's moments, without interrupting them by showing Uram. Finally, Hikari and Uram's relationship has ended. The scene shifts and we see Megumi regaining consciousness. Yuji surprises Megumi by bringing Nobara. Yuji says he cried a little when Nobara hit Sukuna with resonance because he realized that Nobara had returned. But Megumi wasn't surprised because he had seen everything through Sukuna. After this, Yuji pulls out the letters that Gojo had written and given to Shoko, who passed them on to Yuji. Megumi says, "A letter?" Nobara adds, "I feel you." This is totally not like him. It's slightly gross to even imagine him writing letters. Megumi then notices that there are 2 letters and there are 3 people here. Megumi realizes that the letters were were meant for Nobara and Megumi, and not for Yuji, because Yuji had already spoken directly with Gojo. We see that after reading the letter. Nobara is in shock because the letter was all about her parents' whereabouts, who they are, where they are. After seeing this, Yuji asks, "Did you even want to know in the first place?" Nobara replies, "Not at all." The next line is great. Nobara asks Megumi if there is anything special in his letter, like a letter of authority from a special grade or something, but we see Megumi laughing after reading his letter, which makes Yuji and Nobara very curious. They grab the letter from Megumi and read it, and they are shocked. We see Megumi was genuinely happy because the letter from Gojo says, "Unfortunately, your father is no longer around because I killed him." Sorry, man. This was great because Gojo had wanted to tell him about his father for a long time. Finally, Gojo revealed it to Megumi through a letter, and Megumi learned that his teacher had killed his father. I don't know why, but it hits hard because Megumi suffered a lot, and after so much suffering, he finally learns about his father. His sensei killed his father, and the last apology. That was everything. Next, Nobara says that they need to reunite with everyone, including Maki and every single sorcerer, because it's all about Yuta. Yuji says they must save Yuta's life, and then we see Panda, Kusakabe, and Maki. We also hear a loud shout probably from Maki saying, "You damn Utah bastard." And unfortunately, the chapter ends here, and the writer leaves a comment saying 3 more chapters left. Next week, there will be a break, and after that, we'll get a new chapter. So tell me, what did you think of this chapter? Sukuna is gone, Gojo is confirmed to be dead, and we'll soon find out if Utah is alive or not. But to be honest, I didn't like the backstory about Sukuna's flashback. They should have shown more of it. I don't know why they didn't. A major villain who played such a dominant role, and we don't know much about his backstory. They should have shown something in my opinion. But other than that, I really liked the letter Megumi received, the one Gojo had written. The chapter was good. It feels like a lot of things in Jujutsu Kaisen have been left incomplete, like what happened to Kenjaku's plan. We haven't been showed anything about it. It seems like even Gay Guy doesn't know how to end this story. Well, these are spoilers, and the actual chapter will be out in 2 days, after which I'll make a video. Since spoilers might have translation mistakes, I'll wait for the official release. By the way, like and subscribe to the video if you've watched this far. We'll meet again with another amazing video. Until then, goodbye.